Hello, and welcome to another video from Scopus, creators of the Orion scoring system and Athena electronic scoring target. I'm John Becker. This video is going to be a little different, I guess, because this is directed more at the individual athletes, but coaches and match directors, you certainly can pay attention because it's going to apply to you as far as a match host. And of course, as a coach, you're always helping your athletes. So we're going to talk about customizing your score history. So when you think of event style subscriptions, it's really, think of it more about how to pare down or summarize the events that you're most interested in. There's currently over 100 different event styles, and it's growing every week. But most athletes are going to specialize in a few or a handful. They may participate and they may shoot or participate in a bunch of different events, but if you're the typical JROTC high school athlete, you're looking at 3P air scores, maybe some small bore if you're thinking about shooting in college. If you're a different athlete, you may be focused on different events, but this is a way to summarize those for you. So we need to cover two items. First off is personal versus public lists. Your personal score history is always enabled, but you are the only one who can see these scores. They are going to include scores from Athena, practice scores, and practice scores from Orion, and then competition scores from Orion. If you decide to enable a public score history, which you must manually enable, everyone can see those scores. And this would include competition scores from Orion. They're not going to include practices because, as we all know, that you being the best at the Tuesday night practice is not the same as a sanctioned competition score. So we'll get into that in just a second. Then we'll also talk about editing an event style subscription. So let's go over to the results website, and I'll show you where you would see your score history. So you would log in. If you do not yet have an account, you can register for a free one on the first page of results.scopus.tech. But then once you're logged in, if I go to score history, this is just a sample account for me. So on the right-hand side, I will see any event that was associated with my name and my email address used for this account. So this is where coaches and match directors come in. Make sure your participants, if you should be requesting an email address from them anyway, but if you're requesting an email address, ask for their Scopus account email address. And as long as their last name is spelled correctly and the email is associated, their scores will go to their account. So for instance, over here, I've got 4 different scores. I've got a small bore score, an air pistol score, and a couple of 3P air scores. These will show up for everybody's individual personal score history. This, again, can include practices. It can also include sanctioned matches. If you want to go in and create, let me go ahead and remove these, and we'll get back to what it would look like if I just logged in and I would see my scores. If I want to create an event style subscription, say I really want to start tracking my 3P air scores, I go into one of the 3P air events that I've shot, it doesn't matter which one, and then go over to the settings or the cog wheel on the right hand side, click it, and I have the option to save it to my personal list or save it to a public list. You can do both, but for this instance, I'm just going to save it to a personal list. Hit close, and then you will notice scores show up on this left-hand window, and you will see an average over any of those events. So in this case, in this test data, I've got 2 in here that it will give me an average. You will be able to show scores over time. It'll show a graph. You can see the last competition score and link to it. If you click on it, it'll show um, the individual score plots from the results website. If you, and then you'll also see a last practice. Obviously, those are going to be, the practices are the non-sanctioned match events. But I can also go in and let's say I also want to track small bore, do that. I can go in on manage my event styles if I wanted to change the order. And let's say I wanted to see small bore first, or I wanted to see a different way. You have the ability to just move them up, change them to your liking. Remember, this is to be your tool to make it easier for you to track your scores that you fired. So the idea behind it is another innovation we've done is to allow you to gain quick insight into what's most important. Maybe answer some questions like how much am I practicing or training? How are my scores going up or down or flatlining? What's my competition record or personal best in a particular event? When was my last competition versus practice? All of these will start to flesh out when you have a better ability to track the individual matches in a summarized form. So again, coaches, match directors, you can help out by making sure that the athlete's data is entered correctly into your match information on the Match Competitors tab and linking their email. So again, just a short video just to let you know some more innovations we're working on. You can go ahead if you need more information or support. You can always look at support.scopus.tech, our support website, or our YouTube channel has more videos on various support topics. And again, we thank you and wish you good shooting.